how to pay for things online. Interesting question. Today I'm going to help you with this because there's loads of different methods of making payments online. You can use different types of sources to help you basically make the best of it. Some frugal tips I'm going to cover today, so stay tuned. Things like popular online payment methods, setting up online banking. This is specifically UK related, but New Zealand, Australia, America, all of those places, similar thing can apply. So we're talking about how to make secure online payments, shopping platforms, understanding fees, like if they're charging you, why are they charging you for paying with the card, alternative payment methods, online security and protection. Everything I talk about today is going to be available in the resources, so zulftalks.com. You can download this presentation that I'm using today. Thank you for joining me. Popular online payment methods. What is a popular online payment method? So when you buy something online, how do you pay? I'm going to give you a couple of tips here. If you're paying with your banking card, avoid doing that, because if something goes wrong, if your details get compromised, someone is able to get hold of the banking details, you're basically losing access to your main source of finances, like your main bank account. If you can, try and do it differently. There's other options for online payment methods. You can pay via like a PayPal. You can use like a service from your bank where they make a payment into your bank, and then you can use a separate card if you have more than one account, like a current account. You can have a specific credit card just to use online. You can pay via a website which has like a secure portal like World Pay. These kind of different types of options are available on them. But when you talk about these, setting up online banking, you can even make a payment direct from your bank to the company, so you don't have to use a card. Use like an account number, so called. You create them as a payment as person you're paying, and you pay the person specifically directly if it's a larger amount. So you can set that up via your bank. What that means is you can set up the online banking to allow you to use your card to buy online, because there's like an extra box you can tick to say I want to use it online. You can also use contactless in some shops if you're spending and buying items, like for example if you're going to Argos or somewhere, but there's only online options available. You can pay in the shop and then they deliver it to your house. So there's different types of options out there depending on what you're doing. What's the best way to make secure online payments? So this is going to be a top tip for you. If you hung about 2-3 minutes into this episode, you're in for a treat. Now what I do, I have my bank account and I find this works really well. So keeping payments secure, the best way to do it is I have my bank account, I have a credit card. I use a bank account for everything, but I don't really spend on my bank account. Like I don't use a card to actually buy from shops. I use a separate credit card which I use for online purchases. That online credit card is everywhere online. I don't mind. It's a credit card. Credit card offers you extra protection. We'll talk about that a bit later on, but when I use a credit card, it gives all the purchases on there. The bank account pays it off in full, but online no one ever sees the bank account credit card, so like the bank account details, so it's kind of in the background. If something goes wrong here and those get compromised, I can just put the card on hold and I can continue to use my bank account. I've still got access to money, get money out of the cash machine, etc. So like that's a tip to at least make some element of safety. So you've got two cards instead of one. You're building a bit of credit history there. We talked about that in another episode where you can use different types of payments, but that's one way of that. Another way is you can use your bank account, link it to PayPal, pay via your email address with PayPal. Same kind of rule applies. The bank account's in the background, but you are putting your bank details into the PayPal screen. So if something happens on PayPal, then that happens quite a lot. You may have seen on the news where they say, oh yeah, this website's been hacked, a lot of information's gone out. So nowhere is really safe. All you can do is try and be as safe as you can be, but at some point your information is going to go out there, because in this digital age it seems to be too easy for people to hack stuff. I don't know, when it comes on the news, it worries you. You're like, you've got your personal information out there, but it's one of these things that it's a burden towards online purchasing. You get safety in purchasing, but convenience in purchasing, but then there's elements of safety. So online shopping platforms, some are better than others. For example, if you're using Amazon, eBay, a trusted website, and you're buying it from that site, they'll offer you some type of protection, so you don't have to be on your own when you're buying. Whereas if you go onto Google and search a random site and pay directly into the site, what level of protection are you getting there? So you just have to be careful where you're buying from. If you buy from a trusted website, then you can go back to their customer services. You've got extra protection. If you're using the credit card that I talked about in my example, then you can actually even go back to the credit card company and say, you know what, I bought this item, it hasn't come, it's not as expected, it was over a certain amount of money. You get extra protection for that, so you can raise a dispute with the credit card provider. I think it's called Section 75. If it doesn't deliver, or if a company goes bankrupt, for example, there's different scenarios. So online shopping platforms, different types, just keep an eye on where and who you're buying with and where that site is, because sometimes it might be like a different country and they're sending it via another site, so it can get a bit interesting, which is why I stick to trusted sites. But for your example, if you can only buy it from that site, try and use a card that you've got just for online buying, or an account that is just for that, and you have a certain amount of money in there, so you still have access if something goes wrong to your other accounts. Hopefully that makes sense, you're following me. Understanding payment fees. So what's this about? If you buy online, do you pay extra fees? It depends, because some websites will be like, if you buy with a debit card, we won't charge you anything. If you buy the credit card, you have to pay 3% fee. And that's because they have a portal. So each website has like a payments portal, and that if I, for example, have a website, I want to sell drill bits. I don't know why I have a drill bit on my desk. I know why I have it. I was put some soundproof panels up, so I was using a drill bit. Hopefully you can tell the difference in the audio. Does this sound better to you today versus the episode you listened to before? I'm talking directly into the mic, so it's popping. I'm sorry. Let me talk off. So yeah, what was I saying? Yes, so say for example I have a website and I'm selling drill bits. That drill bit can be sold on my website. If I sell this to someone who pays the debit card, my company that handles my payments won't charge me. But if you pay with a credit card, my company say, well, if you have customers that pay with a credit card, we're going to charge you 3% of the fee. So then I'd be like, okay, that means that drill bit's more expensive. So then in the bottom of that list, I will write, you know what, if you're buying with a credit card, then you'd have to pay this fee because my company's charging me a fee. So then you end up paying more money. So that's why some processing fees are taken into account. If you're paying via PayPal and it's not a family and friends payment, there'll be a fee to adjust currencies. So if you're paying in like pounds and dollars, they have to convert that to pounds. They may charge you a fee for that. So you need to understand the different types of fees out there and the different countries that will charge you this. Are there alternative payment methods? You can put like a balance on a card and have a card where you use it just for those purchases, or you can make a bulk payment into a site and have a balance standing there and you slowly churn away at the balance. You can do that normally with websites. Like if you buy domain names, you can put $100 in there and they'll take from the $100 every time rather than charging your bank directly, so you're paying it once, or posting services. So there's alternative methods out there. Let me bring up a few more examples. Of course, in this day and age, you can also pay with things like digital wallets, which is basically what I speak about there. You can do bank transfers. You can buy now and pay later. Cryptocurrency is a big thing if you're into that arena. I'm not really into that, but you can use cryptocurrencies for paying. So like you buy a coffee with a Dogecoin, or like a bit of a Zulfiqar coin or something. I'm not mentioning the main big one there. You know which one it is. Alternative payment methods, there's loads of things you can think about. Now, online security tips, I talked about one already there, but if you consider paying with a different card each time, or using a card specifically for internet purchases, you've got a little bit of extra protection there. There's also little tips around this where you can use different types of payment methods to help you stay secure, as long as you're using trusted websites and apps, and it's HTTPS in the web URL. It's got like extra encryption on that website, so at least other people can't snoop on what you're doing. Simple things that you will already know, making sure you've got strong passwords and pins and all that. That's just, it should be without saying, but it's worth mentioning. Another one to mention is keep an eye on your statements. If this month you bought a lot of online stuff, like from eBay or Amazon or whatever, just keep an eye on your bank statement and have a look and match up the things you bought and see if anything shows different. If you see a transaction which you're not familiar with, just question like, what's that? Why is that called that? Sometimes you'll buy from a company and their website name will be different in your statements. That can be a bit confusing, but as long as you understand the amount you spent was it's like early way of detecting if there's issues buying online. So there's a couple of different ideas around that, and using two-factor authentication, using password keys, all these little things. And you can actually, on some cards, take a fraud prevention category where it does extra scrutinizing on transactions out of your area or country, and it highlights some like that kind of thing. So that's something to consider and think about, especially around that. In terms of legal protection, what legal protection do you have when it comes to spending online? So there's a number of different legal protections out there. Like I talked a little bit about earlier, you've got credit cards which come with protection. All you want to consider is when you're buying online, as long as it's a site you trust and it's an item you're purchasing, if it comes to you and it gets to you in time or whenever you wanted it, is it what you asked for? Does it meet your criteria? You have a return policy on sites. If it's not meeting your obligations, you can return it. If it was like damaged or something, then who's liable for that? You check for the postage. Was it posted in time? If it doesn't come at all, the person sending it to you technically is liable for making sure it gets to you. So having the relevant insurance on the postage, for example, those types of things come into play, and different values offer different levels of protection as well. So if you're buying online, you've got cyber security, like a national cyber security center, which like acts as a information place for you. They must be of satisfactory quality, so the stuff you're buying needs to be like, it doesn't disintegrate the minute you get it. So there are types of legal protection out there for you, and you can follow those through your banking or your credit card that you're paying with, or PayPal, or Amazon. They have their policies for like different types of protection. They're not always the best for every site, so make sure you keep an eye on those and see what works for your type of protection. More information will be in the show notes, which you can pick up and check. So to recap, what have we covered today? We covered popular online payment methods in the UK, setting up online banking to pay for stuff, how to pay securely, online shopping platforms, which ones to look at, things to consider, understanding why sometimes they charge you fees, alternative payment methods, thinking about different ways to pay, online security tips, and legal protection in terms of what, if any, do you have anything. So basically we've covered a few options there. In this series on season 14, I'm covering everything about finance and working for yourself. So if you're setting up your company, all these little things affect your day-to-day process, because a lot of our online businesses need something to basically keep us going, to make sure that we've got the right information. So I'm hoping these episodes help you. Again, it would be really good if you can leave a review wherever you're listening to this. The show resources are available at zulftalks.com. You can also sign up to the mailing list there, which will allow you to get information to help you on your journey working for yourself.